Hello and welcome to our very first Kwanza celebration, combining churches with Valley Fellowship, 16th Street, and the Fontana Juniper Avenue SDA churches. I felt that this year would be a great year to celebrate the 7 principles of Kwanza. Kwanza begins the day after Christmas, and this is when this is airing. So I pray that you've had a great and a Merry Christmas, and for the next 7 days, my colleagues and I will be sharing with you the 7 principles of Kwanza. As I was thinking about this day, it might be new to some, it might be a refresher for others. And so as I was perusing through YouTube, I found a video that was really well done by Dr. Linda Humes, who explains the history and the principles behind Kwanza. Take a look.
Kwanza is a holiday that was started by Dr. Malenga Karenga in 1966. The reason that he felt a need to start a brand new holiday was because he felt that African Americans that lived outside of the continent of Africa were detached from the values and the culture of the continent of Africa. And he wanted them to feel good about themselves and to have something that they could connect to make their lives better. Kwanza is actually derived from a Kiswahili word meaning first harvest. All through the continent of Africa and many other places, people celebrate the harvest. They give thanks for the harvest. So Kwanza really means first fruits or harvest time. Kwanza is not a religious holiday, it's a cultural holiday, which means that you can celebrate whatever your tradition is and still enjoy Kwanza. Kwanza is observed the day after Christmas, which means you could still celebrate Christmas, from December 26th all the way through January 1st, New Year's Day, for 7 days. So the 7 days, you're actually celebrating and thinking about 7 principles. Those 7 principles are called the Nguza Saba. The 7 principles of Kwanza are Umoja, unity; Kuchishangulia, self-determination; Ujima, collective work and responsibility; Ujamaa, cooperative economics; Nia, purpose; Koumba, creativity; and last but not least, Imani, faith. Those are 7 principles that everyone can use to have a better life. It doesn't matter if you're African American, it doesn't matter where you're from. These 7 principles will help you to be a better human being and also help to make the world a better place. The candelabra for Kwanza is called a kinora. It is 7 candles that represent, again, the 7 principles. So the middle candle is black, that represents the people. Then you have 3 candles representing the blood, and then 3 candles that represent the earth or the hard work that you do. I think that what resonates with people about this holiday is that it really is a holiday that makes you look within and then connect with the people around you. So part of Kwanza also is looking at your relationships, people who you might need to ask forgiveness from, people who you might need to forgive. The Kwanza celebration at the American Museum of Natural History is literally the largest Kwanza celebration in the United States. Thousands and thousands of people come in to see the Kwanza celebration. And as a storyteller, I am just proud, and every year I look forward to coming and sharing with everyone about Kwanza.
We have about 10,000 people that come together to celebrate every year, with shows that include performances as well as storytelling and teaching about the principles and all of the nature of the holiday of Kwanza, as well as a popular marketplace that opens for artisans to come and sell their wares at the museum for just 1 day.
And you see people of every ethnicity, every race, every religion coming together to celebrate love, to celebrate culture, to celebrate the great and rich contribution of African Americans and the African diaspora. What's wonderful about Kwanza for everyone is that it gives everyone the opportunity to learn a little bit more about African American history, which is American history. Then we also get the opportunity to be with family and share personal stories. So when people of any ethnicity come together and they hear these stories, it helps them to understand one another better.
That was great information, and now you have a refresher on what Kwanza is and its history, what its principles are, and the fact that as this cultural holiday, this cultural celebration, how all of us, irrespective of where we come from, can celebrate these 7 principles of Kwanza. So each and every day, we're going to be going through one of them. And ultimately, what I would like for each of you to do that is watching this video right now is to think about how you can incorporate these 7 values, these 7 principles into your life, into your family life, into your personal life, into your church life, everywhere that you are, even into your work life, how they can help transform what it is that you're doing. Of course, these come from, as you heard just a few moments ago, they come from the idea of the first fruits, the first harvest, how they had a celebration for that. And these 7 principles, the Nguzo Saba, that is called, the Nguzo Saba, these 7 principles, we're starting off with number one. And number 1 is Umoja, unity, us connected together. Unity as principle number 1. And I think that when we think about this idea of unity, this idea of connectedness, that there isn't a more relevant time than right now to think about this idea and concept of unity and what it means and how important it is for us to be able to come together and to stand together. You know, as a young kid, I can remember a game that we used to play. It was a game called Tug of War. And on Tug of War, you usually had 2 sides that were pulling. But the side that pulled together the best was the side that won. In other words, everyone had to be united and connected together. When they pulled together, they were able to accomplish and be able to use their collective strength to win the battle. And so as we think about the idea of unity, how can we connect with one another? How can we unite together? There's a phrase that we often use that you've probably heard as well. Many hands make light work. And that's true. Many hands do make light work when we unite together. There's a picture that I've seen of those that are helping, that are uniting together to help people get over a fence. Maybe you've seen this cartoon before. And one person makes it up over the fence. They've strived and they've made it over to the other side. And frequently, what's something that I've seen in society, even among each other, is that when one person makes it, they don't go back and help the other get over. They don't unite together. They don't help one another. And at the end of the day, we need each other. We need each other to be able to make it. Life is difficult. Life is challenging. And when one of us succeeds, we celebrate it. We're excited for them. But in all of that celebrating and exciting, especially for the one that has succeeded, don't forget about others that have helped you along the way. When we unite together, we are so much stronger. I want you to do this, and it might take a moment. It was much easier years and years ago, and maybe you can just imagine. I want you to find some of that mail, the junk mail, some of the mail that you just don't want. You've been getting it all year long. You probably have that reject mail pile, and some of you all might choose to shred it, and you still can. But I want you to do this exercise with me. I want you to grab just one piece of mail, just one of them. Maybe it's a letter that comes in a regular size envelope, or maybe it's a flyer from a particular retailer, whatever. It doesn't really matter what it is. And I want you to just rip it in half. Just tear it in half. You could take it. You can see that it's very easy. But if you have a pile, I want you to look toward that pile, all the other things that you're looking to shred, or you just have no interest at all in reading. If you take that stack, that pile, and you try to rip through it, you'll find that if it gets 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 letters or pieces of mail, that it's going to be much more difficult for it to be ripped. When they're united together, it's much more difficult to be torn apart. And that's something that's true in our lives. That's what unity does. When we stand together with one another, it's much more difficult for us to be torn apart. What are the things that are tearing us apart? Economics is tearing us apart. What is tearing us apart? Our mindset, and our families have been torn apart. Those that have challenges in their life, our society is trying to be torn apart because of different ideas and different ideals. There's challenges all over the place, things that if we stand alone will easily rip us apart. But if we stand together, we'll be much, much stronger. We know that when we look into African American history, one of the ways that the family was attacked was by separating the family, pulling it apart, taking fathers away from mothers and children, taking husbands away from their wives, and how that did so much collective damage, and even now has done damage to the life and society and the way that a life is lived here in the United States, and I would argue probably around the world, because we're better together. Families are better and stronger together. Churches are stronger and better together. We as humans, we live longer and have more fulfilling lives when we're together. We experience greater joy when we can experience it with someone together. Unity is key. Unity is important. Where can you bring unity in your life? Where can you bring unity in your home? Where can you bring unity at work? Maybe it's killing a story that is being divisive. Maybe it's going and apologizing to someone and saying, look, we've been on opposite sides of this idea for long enough. Now it's time for us to come together. Maybe it's forgiveness. Maybe it's a way that you can bring an idea. Maybe it's not staying silent about a great idea that you have and sharing it with somebody else. Maybe it's looking and saying, instead of me just succeeding alone, I'm going to bring others along. It might mean it's a little less for me, but at least it blesses the entire village. I believe that there's abundance and enough everywhere for all of us if we come together. So today, on this day one, Umoja, unity, let's come together. Let us help one another. Let us speak well of one another. Let's do the things that bind us together instead of the things that drive us apart. Because together, we are far stronger than we ever can be all alone. God bless you. And tomorrow, we will have Dr. Delroy Brooks, who will share principle number 2 of this week's Kwanza celebration.